everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Molly from Moth in the Studio, and today I'm making a strawberry shortcake tribute piece. I got the idea after seeing a photo timeline of all the different versions of strawberry, and I thought it would be cute to have a piece featuring all of them, as a way to appreciate how this show has taught generations of kids since the 80s. If you're not familiar, it's a kids show centered around Strawberry and her friends, who are also named after fruity desserts and generally has themes of friendship and kindness. The 5 versions I chose were classic 80s, 90s, 2003, 2009, and 2018. Now, there were other versions to choose from and many different outfit variants over the years, but I decided to go with these 5 since they represented the classic versions of each sort of generation, and despite most of them having very cute alternate outfits, I thought they'd be most recognizable if they were wearing the outfits most typically worn in their shows. I personally grew up on the 2003 version, and I still think she is my favorite out of all of them. I was 4 years old when this wave came out, and I was the perfect age for scented dolls and very chill kids' TV. Oh yeah, I don't know if they still do this, but one of the gimmicks of my generation of dolls was that they were scented, like the desserts that they represented. I remember I always liked Orange Blossom scent the most, but I don't recall the others too well. The dolls were absolutely adorable and came with matching fruit accessories and playsets. I know I had a lot of fun as a kid. Now that I'm an adult and kind of going through my second childhood, I find myself drawn back to the comfort characters I connected with when I was little. I know when I was just recovering from scoliosis surgery when I was 17, as soon as I was able to, I made myself get up, crawl over to my desk, and started trying to draw anything. I had been out of surgery for like 5 or 6 days, and I just really wanted to make sure I could still draw. I was very dizzy and basically had double vision at this point due to medication, but I just had to test myself to see if I could. So I managed to somehow sketch out a vague representation of strawberry shortcake before getting way too tired from exertion and taking another long nap. I binge-watched a lot of nostalgic kids' TV those long 6 weeks. Stuff I hadn't seen since I was probably 7 or 8. They ran a bunch of the old stuff at like 3 a.m. when my parents were both asleep, but I was awake because that's just how sleep schedules work when you're recovering from major surgery. So I got to revisit a lot of the classics. All this to say that 10 years later, now that I'm going through a lot of big scary changes and things aren't always great, I'm still returning to things that comforted me when I was a kid. And there's definitely been a big shift in my art lately because of that. I've been slowly gravitating more and more towards vibrant colors and more fun content. Things that remind me of a time in my life when I didn't worry as much, and it does work. I try to worry less about social media, though being an artist on the platform, that's sometimes easier said than done. I'm trying to focus more on making the art that I want to make, though, because I figure if my brain is happy, then it might do the same for at least one person I've never met, and that's pretty neat. I should probably shout out my materials for this project. I'm using colored micron pens and a sepia Copic multi-liner for the line art. And for the coloring, I'm using Ohuhu markers. If you're curious about exact colors, just let me know in the comments. I'll let you know. For shading, I'm also using Artist Loft watercolor pencils. I've had them forever, and I've used them for a lot of mixed media projects before. And also, while I haven't used any in this video, I have been experimenting with the combination of watercolor and markers more often because I think the contrast sort of captures some of the cell shading of older cartoons. So if that's something you'd like to see more of on the channel, please let me know. I'd love to try to make this more of a regular thing if I can. I only recently started playing around with markers again since I hadn't really worked with them since high school. I used to sketch with Copic markers all the time, but I just kept messing up my drawings in ways that couldn't be undone, so I gave up on them after a while, especially after getting my first digital tablet. But even though I still made a few mistakes on this piece, now that I have a little more experience, I'm more confident that I can fix any accidental splotches. Like, for example, the tights I had to redo because I didn't like how the stripes turned out the first time. I know that 2009 Strawberry has green and white tights, but I decided making them darker green and even would look better than leaving them as is. I also took creative liberties with some of the design elements and colors. Like, I know that she normally has more of a red hair color in earlier versions, but I liked the way that this gingery burnt sienna looked in my early sketches, so I decided to go with that. I figured that as long as I liked it, it didn't matter if it was 100% accurate. One of the cute ideas I had for this piece was the idea that each strawberry shortcake is a different strawberry growing from the stem of a plant, which is why I've posed them on the leaves in this way. I think it's a fun visual representation that they're all slightly different, but they come from the same place. I think that this would make a great fan art piece for conventions someday when I finally have enough artworks to feel comfortable boothing. It's been a long time dream of mine, and I'm determined to make it happen next year. By the time you see this, I'll be starting the process of moving into a new apartment with my new fiancé, so I may not be back immediately, but it won't be nearly as long as my last break. I can't wait to share more art and more good times on this channel, as it's been far too long and I enjoy making these videos. And this is the finished piece. I had a lot of fun creating it. I got to just enjoy the process and make something that reminded me of my cozy childhood. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider leaving a like or a comment, or even subscribe. I have an Instagram and a Blue Sky as well, and I'm trying to grow a little community on there, so if you see me, feel free to stop by and say hello. But that's all for today. Until next time.